to run through a brewing scenario. And I'm going to brew on 2 devices. I've put up a brew plan back here according to our brewing rules. Now remember, 5 commandments. This is how you want to brew. You want to plan a brew time that aligns with the brewing device. Stick with water temperatures, 90 to 96 Celsius, so just off the boil. Grind your coffee to match the brewer's specifications. Clean your equipment. Before using it, you can rinse the filters and make sure that the water is good. All right, so I'm going to run through those, and it doesn't matter if you have like a V60, kind of a conical pour over, if you're brewing on an auto dripper, if you have a little Melitta. There's lots of different ways to brew your coffee. So I'm going to set those aside. Today we're going to be using the Melitta coffee dripper. I like this one. It's just beautiful and makes a good cup of coffee. I like aesthetics. On the Melitta, we'll be brewing in El Salvador. This is an heirloom San Antonio natural processed coffee. So I love my fruity, well, anything that just has a lot of vibrancy to it. I like it with a paper filter because the paper filter really cleans it up. And so here on the Melitta, we'll be grinding a medium coarse grind. Okay, so that medium coarse grind, it's going to be like heavy granules of sugar. And so those heavy granules of sugar, not quite as coarse as a French press, but I'm also going to demonstrate the French press. So we'll be doing a French press with a Myanmar washed coffee, and this one was roasted kind of a medium dark. And so just to enjoy some of that dark roasted coffee flavor, here it's just a little bit more coarse, and so kind of that golden sugar, like when you get a sugar packet. So that'll be on the French press. I'm going to demonstrate both of these brew devices, and I'll take a picture here of our rules. But on the Melitta, first I have measured out just about 600 milliliters of water. So if you don't have a fancy brew scale, something to check your time on, as well as your grams in, grams out, how much water, just use the lines and measurements on your water kettle, find a way to measure it out, and then repeat that process over and over. This is probably for your daily brew. Maybe you don't have a fancy kettle or a thermometer. That's okay. Again, I want to make this as accessible as possible for the introduction level. So I said that I put a little bit more than 500 milliliters, and we'll be using 500 milliliters with my 30 grams of coffee. So that's going to give a 1 to 16.7 brew ratio. So it's a little bit on the strong side, but I like a strong cup of coffee. And when my kettle's gone, this was just boiled, I will know that I'm finished. So first we're going to rinse the paper filter. Paper filters, whether they're bleached or unbleached, if they're white or brown, they have a bit of a paper smell. You've all smelled cardboard or boxes. Okay, so there's a little bit of the smell, but by rinsing it, we're doing 2 things. We are warming our brewing device. We're warming whatever we're going to receive it in, the pitcher or the kettle, or just straight into your cup, right? The water tastes good, has no smell, so we're good to go there. I'll put this in a separate container, and we'll start the brew. So I'm just going to pour this in evenly. You just want a nice, a level coffee bed. So here we have our coffee grounds inside. I don't think I need to show you that. You've all seen. And I'm going to start my timer. You can use a watch. You can use your cell phone. So on a pour over dripper device, brewing device, your brewing time should be anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes. And that can vary according to the amount of coffee or water that you use. Now I'm going to shoot for right in the middle, 3 minutes. And so, first I've poured in about, twice as much coffee as I have in here. I poured about 60 grams of water, and now the coffee is blooming. So it's just letting out some of those gases. Some of the first coffee is falling through. And then I'm going to apply another stage of water. I just want to make sure that all of the coffee grounds are being wet, that they're receiving the hot water. While I'm letting that drip through, we've got our French press. Now I've already washed and rinsed this, but it's always good just to add, if you haven't done it right when you're getting ready to brew, add some hot water, rinse it out. This metal filter down here can really trap some water oils. So it's great to, sorry, did I say water oils? Coffee oils. So it's great to rinse with hot water and just get those out. Now you can continuously pour. You can also do in a couple stages. By brewing in a couple stages, this will be a 3-stage brew. By brewing in 3 stages, what happens is that first stage is kind of degassing. Those fresh coffee roast gases are being let off. Second stage, the coffee is absorbing the water, and so it's becoming more easy to dissolve. And then in this third one, we're just going to finish the brewing. Okay, so this is ready to go. The brew time here is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It looks like it's going to finish dripping right at 3. So I'm going to add 30 grams of coffee as well to my French press. And then, depending on whatever you're brewing into, mine has different markers. And so I can measure how much water I put into my French press according to the markers. So I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to get some water in. Okay, this is right at the 3-minute mark, so I'm going to reset my timer. And you'll notice I swirled my coffee grounds just a little bit. That allows all of the water to interact with the coffee. And then I'm going to fill it up to that halfway mark. You could do this on a scale so that you're weighing the exact measurement of water. And then on this, here we have our coffee and water together. I'm just going to plunge this so that I kind of press out the air and just submerge that coffee. I'm not going to push it all the way in yet, but I just want all of that coffee to be in the water. This is an immersion brewing. And so with immersion brewing, I'm soaking the coffee in the water. And I'm going to let this go for 4 minutes. I'll come back when it's finished. And this one here, finished dripping. It was at 3 minutes. Perfect timing. I'll see you soon. Great. The coffee is right here at the 4-minute mark. So at the 4-minute mark, I'm just going to slowly press the coffee, plunge it into the grounds. So by doing that, if you've never made a French press before, super easy. What happens is all of the coffee grounds just press down to the bottom, and all the wonderful coffee I can drink is up top. So this here is ready to go, 4 minutes. And this was our first cup of coffee. This natural roasted coffee was, have a sip of it here. Got my little espresso cup so I don't drink too much. Yeah, it's very clean. So a natural process coffee should have a really big body, but when you put it on the paper filter, some of that's lessened, which is nice because then the coffee flavors can just become more clear. It's very syrupy and fruity, like roasted fruit. It's really nice. A little bit like tart fruit, like raspberry pie or raspberry jam. And then pouring off, that was my Hong Kong mug, here's my Wuhan mug, pouring off my Myanmar. So this was a darker roasted coffee. Still really good. The body is just really big on this one. Yeah, I'm really happy with both of these. In terms of the extraction, nothing is overly bitter. Nothing's out of balance. So again, I made my coffee strong. That was part of my brew plan with the brew ratio. And if, let's say that you're making coffee for you and a friend, or you and a spouse, you and a partner. If you like strong coffee, start with it strong. And then when you prepare theirs, all you do is you add a little hot water to it. And so if I add hot water to this, it'll just become a different brew ratio effectively, and it's less concentrated. So on my Melitta dripper, I had 3 minutes. That was right on target. 95 degrees, that was really just, depending on your water boiler, you can measure if it's 30 seconds off of the boil, a minute off of the boil, where is that safe range? And that's what I did. My grind was medium coarse. I rinsed the paper first thing. The water is good. I was drinking the water before. And my brew ratio was 1 part coffee, 30 grams, to 16 or almost 17 parts water, 500 milliliters. Actually, that's not too strong. What would be even stronger would be 1 to 16 or 1 to 15, reducing the amount of water. So this is a common brew ratio that I use. It's kind of right in the middle, and I like it. The French press, that's what I'm drinking now. Really nice. 4 minutes. Now, if you wanted to go a little longer, if you wanted to go to 5 minutes, you just pull a little bit more of that flavor out of the coffee. That's okay. You can try 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Does it become more bitter than you like? Just back down the time. Again, same water temperature, equal to 203 degrees Fahrenheit. Water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. Coarse ground, so just a little coarser because it's immersion and it's soaking for a long time. You just want to let the water interact for a longer amount of time than we did with our flow-through pour-over Melitta. Cleaned the device, rinsed it beforehand, and same brew ratio. So these are just a few of the brewing tips, how you can brew coffee easily. Again, you don't need fancy equipment, but when you find a great brew plan and you just repeat that over and over again, you find that coffee scooper or how many spoons, you have your favorite scooping spoon that you like to use, and you can brew right on top of a cup. There's no rule that says you have to brew into some container and then pour it into another one. Just find a good habit that works for you and enjoy great coffee. See you next time.